Danny Gaffone for pro boxing fans in Manchester. We've officially announced the signing of Pat Brown. Eddie Hearn, you said to these people when they were waiting outside to bring the energy, bring the noise. Don't think they needed much invitation.
Unbelievable. I mean, we had 24 hours notice for this because we didn't want to announce too close. We wanted to announce close to the event, and just an incredible turn up. A Tuesday night, a few hundred people just come out to wish Pat the best really on his journey. And I really believe we've got a big star of British boxing here in Pat Brown. It's going to be a great journey. He's a huge ticket seller and he can really fight as well.
I saw you tweeted that you'd won the race for potentially British boxing's next star. Firstly, tell me how difficult that race was to win, and secondly, why you believe Pat Brown can be that next flag bearer for sport in this country.
I always think we're the premier choice for a young fighter, but I'm probably a little bit, biased in that respect. But for me, when I'm talking about bringing a young fighter through, I think I can do it, and Matchroom can do it better than anyone. And I think we've been crying out for a big star of British boxing. People keep asking, when's the next big star of British boxing coming from? I look at Pat and I think he can be the guy to do it. Massive fan base, really exciting fighter, great amateur pedigree as well, and I'm looking forward to getting started.
Whenever any highly touted amateur turns over, we hear that they've all got a style that suited the programme, but listening to people who know a lot more about boxing than me, it sounds like Pat Brown really has a style suited for the programme.
Yeah, and he loves a tear-up. I mean, maybe a little bit to his detriment sometimes, but in the programme you're going to love watching him fight. And he's a guy that I think is going to glide through domestic level quite easily. For me, this is a guy that has to become world champion, otherwise we haven't done our job, and he has all the abilities to do it.
And just before we got here, Dan Raphael reported for February 22nd. I mean, a potentially monster card. Daniel Dubois, Joseph Parker, Jerron Ennis, Virgil Ortiz, Dimitri Bivol, Artur Beterbiev 2, Hamza Sheeraz, Carlos Adames, Ajit Caballel, Zile Zhang. Dan Raphael's normally not too far away with these reports. Just what can you tell us on some of the fights Dan's reported, particularly the ones involving your fighters?
There's been a lot of fights discussed. Some of them are on that list, some of them aren't done. His Excellency will always make the announcement regarding Riyadh season. For me, there's still a lot of work to do involving our fighters for that card. So nothing's confirmed yet, and when it is, it will come from His Excellency.
Just in particular on that Artur Beterbiev Dimitri Bivol rematch, that's obviously one you'll have particularly close involvement with due to Dimitri Bivol. Is that one that is potentially close?
Nothing signed and agreed regarding a rematch. Of course, we know that His Excellency called for that rematch in the ring. There have been discussions, nothing confirmed yet, and when it is, I'm sure he'll make an announcement.
Just the latest on Anthony Joshua, when can we expect a return to camp and a potential opponent?
I think the camp will start at the beginning of next year now. Obviously it's December next week, so a lot of work to do for AJ. He's very motivated, he's had a good rest, and he'll have another rest for December as well. I think you'll see him back around May or June. For me, the two fights are Daniel Dubois and Tyson Fury. Obviously we'll be watching, he'll be there ringside December 21st, and I think it'll be one of those two guys next.
With Tyson Fury, you say you'll be there waiting to see the result of the rematch with Alexander Usyk. I'm sure there's regrets, be it in or out of your hands, that the fight hasn't materialised at this point. Is it getting to the stage now where regardless of what happens on December 21st, we just look to jump straight into that fight?
I think so. I mean, I always get asked every day on the street, petrol stations, wherever it is, when are we going to set AJ against Fury? And I say, well, AJ lost against Dubois, he might rematch him, and Fury's... I say, we don't care about that. When are they going to fight each other? So, yeah, I think win or lose, you're going to see that fight. But we'd much rather Tyson Fury won, because he'd be world heavyweight champion again. But either way, I think we need to see that fight in 2025, and I believe you will.
So a recent interview with Tyson, we described both AJ and Daniel Dubois as limited. Just reaction to that?
Yeah, look, when you're on fire, you're dangerous and you're the best in the world, and then when you get beat, you're overrated. The same thing happened with Tyson Fury. He's this, he's that. He got dropped and beat up by Usyk in round 9 and got beat, and he's overhyped. So, anyone can beat anyone on their night. And, that includes AJ beating any of those guys on his night. But, we wish them both the best for December 21. Can't wait to see it, and we'll see what happens in 2025.
Katy Taylor got a wee mention up there. I can tell you're still buzzing off the win over Amanda Serrano.
Yeah, I mean, that was right up there. I talk about my favourite nights in the sport. That was right there because it was the away day. There's nothing like an away day. There's nothing like being involved in massive fights when you're the A side, but you're the away fighter. You got the crowd against you, you got the promotion against you, and it was just an epic fight. And we're of course very fond of of Katy Taylor. It was a massive victory and it meant a lot.
Just want to get your reaction to some comments made by Katy Taylor in the aftermath of that. Firstly, he said that you didn't put any mention of Katy on your social media following the win, instead to push a match between Skye Nicholson and Amanda Serrano. And secondly, his only regret about the promotion was allowing you in the ring after.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't want me in the ring, but it's common courtesy. You know, I'd never stop a promoter getting in the ring of another fighter. Katy requested that I would be in the ring, and he said yes, so thank you for that. I've addressed on IFL, you know, we had an agreement with the Zone that we would not post about, we would not promote, we would not push Jake Paul against Mike Tyson's show, because we'd be pushing the Zone events. You know, as far as obviously every fighter in the division wants to fight Amanda Serrano, Skye Nicholson's been calling out Amanda Serrano, of course she would, she wants to unify. But because of our agreement with the Zone, which was, I mean, I still posted about Katy Taylor straight after the fight, but leading up to the event and after, obviously we had we didn't have a contract, but we had an agreement with the Zone that we wouldn't be actively out there promoting the event, because they've invested a lot of money in Katy Taylor, and thankfully they gave us the opportunity to take that fight on Netflix, which they didn't have to do, so we respected their decision.
As you mentioned the Zone there, another question I had regarding Pat Brown. In terms of building him to a pay-per-view star, I mean, I think it's fair to say there's not been a fighter that's been built from scratch on the Zone into a pay-per-view star in this country. Are you confident you will be able to do that without people talking about the Sky Sports machine in the football, and you're clearly trying to tap into that with the Man United thing?
Our figures on the Zone are no different to Sky's. You know, if you look at the Adam Azim figures recently, that's the same kind of viewing figures that you're seeing on the Zone. The Zone are a global platform. It's not just about the UK, you know, but also the bottom line is now promotion's done much differently than just on platform. You know, look at what we're doing tonight. You're looking at the numbers that we're driving digitally and socially. So we do have to work a little bit harder, because I think we have to really drive the narrative and build the fan base. But you know, the other question is since I left Sky, what pay-per-view fighters have been built on Sky? The answer is none. It's not just DAZN or Sky, it's British boxing. I think we need people like Pat Brown and like big talents to come out, and hopefully over the next couple of years we can build those fighters and really make them stars.
Couple quick more. Conor Benn update, any latest you can tell us about a fight with Chris Eubank Jr.?
Yeah, I mean, that's the fight. Look, you know, we're talking to Barrios and we're talking to the team, and you know, for me, we want to make sure that we make the right decisions for Conor Benn. It's going to be very difficult to walk away from a Eubank fight because it's one of the biggest fights in British boxing, and it's a huge payday as well.
Last thing, on a more serious note, Eddie, we saw the result of the Conor McGregor case. Obviously the details are something that don't belong in an interview like this, but the reason I bring it up, you've had a partnership with Fords in the past. We saw Conor in attendance at the Anthony Joshua fight. Is that something you should rethink going forward given the outcome of the case?
We've got to digest all the information which is coming out thick and fast, and obviously we have a responsibility to look at all our partnerships. We'll do that over the immediate future and decide as a business what we're going to do.
Thanks for speaking to us. Cheers, mate.